Hello students, how are you doing? The theme of our lesson is education and science.
Okay, I'd like to start with a slide presentation. Please take a look at the screen now. What would you say about these pictures? Who can you see here? Alright, so here are some distinguished people of our world. Pay attention to all three quotes and express your ideas. The first one sounds like, Kazakhstan needs an intellectual revolution that will awaken and realize the potential of our nation, which is a quote of Nursultan Nazarbayev. As you know, Nursultan Nazarbayev is the first president of Kazakhstan that ran the government since 1990 until 2019. He is also a reformist who sought regional autonomy for a Central Asian republic. Nazarbayev was the son of Kazakh peasants. He graduated from a technical school in Dnepropetrovsk, now Dnepropetrovsk, Ukraine, in 1960. From a technical school of the Karaganda, now Karagandy, metallurgical compound in Kazakhstan, 1967, and from the Higher Party School in Moscow, 1976. He worked as a steel worker and engineer at a Karaganda plant off and on from 1960 to 1977. He joined the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, which is also known as CPSU, in 1962, and rose through the ranks, becoming a full member of the Kazakhstan Politburo in 1979, chairman of the Kazakh Council of Ministers, 1984 until 1989, first secretary of the Kazakhstan Party, 1989 until 1991, and full member of the SPSU Politburo, 1990 until 1991. In 1990, the Supreme Soviet of Kazakhstan elected Nazarbayev president of the republic. The next one sounds like, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, which is a quote of Nelson Mandela. As you know, he's a black nationalist and the first black president of South Africa that ran the government since 1994 until 1999. His negotiations in the early 1990s with the South African press clerk helped end the country's apartheid system of racial segregation and ushered in a peaceful transition to majority rule. Mandela and de Klerk were jointly awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993 for their efforts. Nelson Mandela was the son of Chief Henry Mandela of the Madiba clan of Xhosa-speaking Tambo people. After his father's death, young Nelson was raised by John Dikaba, the regent of the Tambo. Nelson renounced his claim to the chieftainship to become a lawyer. He attended South African Native College, later the University of Fort Hare, and studied law at the University of Witwatersrand. He later passed the qualification exam to become a lawyer. In 1944, he joined the African National Congress, which is also known as ANC, a black liberation group, and became a leader of its youth league. That same year, he met and married Evelyn Togo-Pace. Mandela subsequently held other ANC leadership positions, through which he helped revitalize the organization and oppose the apartheid policies of the ruling National Party. The next one sounds like, next in importance to freedom and justice is popular education, without which neither freedom nor justice can be permanently maintained, which is a quote of James Garfield. As you know, he is the 20th President of the United States, from March 4th until September 19 of 1881, who had the second shortest tenure in U.S. presidential history. When he was shot and incapacitated, serious constitutional questions arose concerning who should properly perform the functions of the presidency. The last president born in a log cabin, Garfield was the son of Abram Garfield and Eliza Ballo, who continued to run the family's impoverished Ohio firm after her husband's death in 1833. Garfield dreamed of foreign ports of call as a sailor, but instead worked for about 6 weeks guiding mules that pulled boats on the Ohio and Erie Canal, which ran from Lake Erie to the Ohio River. By his own estimate, Garfield, who did not know how to swim, fell into the canal some 16 times and contracted malaria in the process. Always studious, he attended Western Reserve Eclectic Institute, later Hiram College, and at Hiram, Ohio, and graduated in 1856 from Williams College. He returned to the Eclectic Institute as a professor of ancient languages, and in 1857, at age 25, he became the school's president. A year later, he married Lucretia Rudolph, or Lucretia Garfield, and began a family that included 7 children, 2 died in infancy. Garfield also studied law and was ordained as a minister in the Disciples of Christ Church, but he soon turned to politics. So yeah, as these people say, the strength of education is huge. As you are known now, we will talk about education and science today. Now please, we have some several questions. Pay your attention to them. How important do you think education is? What do you think of the education you have had so far? What would the world be like if everyone had an access to a good education? Does your government really care about education? In which country do you think you can receive the best education? Yeah, in fact, education helps people become better citizens, get a better paid job, shows the difference between good and bad. Education shows us the importance of hard work and at the same time help us grow and develop. Thus, we are able to shape a better society to live in by knowing and respecting rights, laws, and regulations. And now I have some tasks for you. So on the slide, you see some terminologies and their definitions. Please think carefully and try to match them. If you finish the matching task, please, we have to use them in our exercise. Today's education flexibility enables individuals to learn at their own pace as they prepare for their future. It is fit in a time of the pandemic as it ensures that learners will be able to continue their educational journey at home. Okay with this, but this education system has some defects that are needed to be rectified. It's okay, so it has some defects. So in everyone would have access to good education, we would have much more peace, harmony with others and nature as well, a more emotionally intelligent world which would end wars over ideologies, and we would have a world that is much more just of the world's problems that are caused by human ignorance. So good education for everybody would negate a lot of these problems. Your average person would be able to engage in more sophisticated conversations, but other than that, nothing much. It is a matter of supply and demand. Just take a look at medical school admissions. Lots of brilliant applicants, too few positions. Some people become docs, while others are forced into careers that could be done with a high school diploma. It is sad, but that's just the reality that we live in. And government does care about education as well. The federal government also influences education by allocating funding only to those school districts that follow certain federal guidelines. The rest of the money is distributed to school districts under Every Student Succeed Act, which is also known as ESSA. Education is today largely paid for and almost entirely administered by governmental bodies or non-profit institutions. This situation has developed gradually and is now taken so much for granted that little explicit attention is any longer directed to the reasons for the special treatment of education, even in countries that are predominantly free enterprise and organization and philosophy. The result has been an indiscriminate extension of governmental responsibility. And according to statistics nowadays, the United Kingdom comes out on top as having the most well-developed education system in the world for 2020. In second place is the United States, followed by Australia, by Netherlands, and then Sweden. Now you can see some words and phrases on the screen. Please find their definitions. So the answers are right here. You can compare your given response to these ones. Curriculum is the group of subjects studied in a school, college, etc. Stereotype is a judgment formed about a person or group without enough information. Global means involving the entire world. Distance learning is a way of studying where tuition is carried out over the internet or by post. To fall behind with your studies means to progress less quickly than others. To keep up with your studies means to not fall behind. To meet a deadline means to finish a job or a task in the time allowed or agreed. To play truant means to stay away from class without permission. Perseverance is to persist even in the face of discouragement, putting for maximum effort to always do the best you can. Research means to study a subject in detail, especially in order to discover new information or reach a new understanding. To take a year out means to spend a year working or traveling before starting university. Collaborate means to work with someone else for a special purpose. Tuition fees means the money paid for a course of study. To enroll means to become or cost to become a member, enlist, or register. To work your way through university means to offer guidance on a student's work. Qualification means an official record showing that you have finished a training course or have the necessary skills, and etc. SWOT analysis means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Bias means an oversimplified opinion formed by associating people with a group. Open-minded means willing to listen to opposing side. Privilege means personal judgment, a way we think about things that is formed by our experience. Conscience means a feeling of application to do what is good and right. Integrity means knowing and doing what is right, true to yourself and others. Obstacles means something that gets in the way and blocks advancement. Now we have another exercise over here. Please match the words and phrase with their definition on the right side. So the answers are: bookworm is a person who's always studying. Copycat is the person who copies the words or actions of another. To live and learn means to learn as you grow older and gain experience. Teacher's pet is the teacher's favorite student. To pass with flying colors means to pass with a very high grade. To go back to basics means to return to the beginning. To cover a lot of ground means to go through a lot of information in class. To pull an all-nighter means to study throughout the night. Now let's move on to the next exercise, where you have to fill the gaps with the words given below. So now you can see the answers and compare them with yours. Eleanor is a copycat. Her piece of art lesson looks exactly like mine. Michael passed with flying colors. He got the best grade in his class. We have covered a lot of ground in class today, so make sure you go through your notes when you get home. Amy is definitely the teacher's pet. Mrs. Brown gives her the best grades even when her work isn't very good. I think we should go back to basic, as none of us are using the past simple correctly today. I'm a bookworm. I love reading about history and politics. I should never have quit my degree. Oh well, we live and learn. I'm so exhausted, I pulled an all-nighter studying for these tests. That's all for today. Thank you all for attention. Goodbye.